This is a HeadGum podcast.
Hello and welcome to The Complete Guide to Everything, a podcast about everything. I'm one of your hosts, Tom.
And I'm Tim.
Tim, how are you doing this week?
I'm full of life.
Great, me too.
Yeah? Well, what accounts for your enthusiasm, your bright outlook?
I went to the woods this weekend, and my phone didn't work for the 3 days I was there.
Is that true?
Yeah, I was able, we went out to lunch at one point, and, got celebrated.
In the woods?
No,
Was it kind of like a teddy bear picnic?
We went to New Paltz, New York,
Ah.
for lunch. I had a lovely sandwich there. So I had cell phone reception then. So I guess technically I had cell phone reception every day I was away at some point, but still long, periods of time without cell phone reception.
Yeah, that's surprising to me that was a positive experience for you, because if there's one thing I know about you, you do not do well if you can't bury your head in your phone.
No, that's not true. That's you. You're like that. I'm a people person. I'm out there shaking hands, kissing babies. You're the one who's like,
All right.
oh, let me see how my Pokemon Go are doing.
I'm not going to say that I'm the most personable person, but you claiming that you enjoy interaction with other human beings is laughable.
It depends. Sometimes I do, in short bursts. But I didn't have to do any of that in the woods. All I had to do was build a bunch of different fires, so that was fun. Was in a tent with a stove, so you
a wood burning stove?
yeah.
It's my dream.
Tim, it was so much fun. It was my dream too. It's the first time I did it. I'm an idiot. I should have looked up videos about stuff, because I got there and I was like, oh, I don't even know how this works. I guess I'll have to figure it out. So,
And now without cell reception, what are you going to do?
Exactly. Well, I'll tell you what I did, at least, which was at first I filled the tent with smoke. And then after that, luckily I was at least smart enough to be like, you know what, I'm going to work on this now before we have to go to bed and before it starts getting cold, so I can, work out the kinks. That being said, I still woke up at 3:30 in the morning, absolutely freezing, because the fire had gone out. So I had to restart the fire, and the firewood was outside, so I had to put pants on and everything and go outside. But you know what? It was an adventure, Tim.
How cold was it?
Not that cold. I would say maybe in the 40s Celsius at night.
That's
Cold enough.
Fahrenheit, I think you want to say, but yeah.
What was that? Oh, Fahrenheit. Yeah, Fahrenheit. Yeah, in the 40 Celsius, it would be swelteringly hot.
Yeah, you wouldn't need to build a fire in your yurt.
Yeah, it was cold enough that you wouldn't want to sleep in that temperature. Plus, I wasn't the only one. My girlfriend was there. My dog was there. Ginger. Ginger was the one who I was like, all right, she's not going to be able to be like, hey, buddy, too cold. Make it hotter in here.
She's got all that fur. She's fine.
She was fine. She wasn't the one who woke up at 3:30 in the morning. The two of us were. Also, for the first time in my life, Tim, I went skinny dipping.
Wow.
Yeah, in a pond.
Tom, may I say, very sexy.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. In a pond in the woods.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you nervous at all?
No, we were reasonably sure nobody would be coming. There were, you had a pretty good line of sight, and there was we were on private land. Mostly it was just, late April in upstate New York, so it was not very warm to do this.
Yeah. How do you know there wasn't a camera in the trees or something? Some
There
local
could've.
perv.
There could have been. I mean, if some local perv wants, I guess they probably want pictures of my girlfriend more than me, but Maybe they want pictures of me.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe they're just, looking for wherever they can get. But I don't know.
That's right. That's how I feel about pervs. If a perv is gonna if I've been on record because you make a lot of jokes about like toilet cams. It's like if somebody wants to watch me poop and I don't have to be a party to it or even know about it. Hey, go nuts. Hey, live your life, man.
Yeah. No, I know you used to post about that a lot on Craigslist.
I mean,
that you were looking for, somebody to put a toilet cam in your home. You didn't care. Did you ever find anybody that took you up on that?
Should have known better than to bring up your old toilet cam jokes.
Well, for any perverts out there listening, you can say, I don't think we have a P.O. box anymore. I don't know why I pronounced it that way. But otherwise I was going to say, send in your toilet cams and, Tim will stick them under the rim of his toilet for you.
I don't even understand how a toilet cam would work. Wouldn't you be able to see it? Where could you hide something
like underneath
in a toilet?
the toilet, kind of.
I don't know.
I think you got to put a toilet cam in a public toilet where people aren't going to be looking too close. Although that's where they should be looking.
Expecting, yeah.
Well,
exactly.
that's true, but I'm just saying if something pops up in, if your home toilet, you're going to notice a change.
Yeah.
But anyway,
how was the rest of your weekend, Tom, in the woods?
The rest of my weekend was also very lovely. It was beautiful weather except for Sunday, but we were leaving on Sunday, so it was fine. But it was just very nice to get out in the woods, make fire. As you know, when you go camping, you can make the shittiest meal imaginable and it tastes amazing. Just because you're like,
what did you make?
Just like hamburgers and hot dogs, and then tacos.
Nice.
And a healthy selection of s'mores.
Huh. Tom, can we say it? S'mores at this age, you just turned 40, considerably younger. At this age, s'mores are more trouble than they're worth, right?
A little bit. I like...
The marshmallow is too melty. It gets in your beard.
Well...
it squeezes out the side. Your hands get sticky.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I'm more into just marshmallows and roasted marshmallows. I don't really need... I'll have one s'more just to experience it, but after that...
Do you say s'more?
Well, s'more. S'more.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's an apostrophe there.
S'more.
I mean, yeah, but it's... I don't know. I think it's not cool to pronounce it that way.
Well, it's the way it's supposed to be pronounced, Tim. So, yeah. That's my
stick up your butt.
Wow.
This is the way it's supposed to be.
Hopefully not
some more.
A s'more stick. It's unhygienic.
I would say that the marshmallow is the least appealing part of a s'more.
Oh, you're wrong.
I like chocolate and I like graham cracker. A marshmallow, Tom, it's uncouth at this point in our lives.
No, I was, and
what even is a marshmallow? We don't even know.
I'd like to go on record as saying that during this weekend I fell in love with marshmallows. That I realized I love marshmallows so much, and I don't know why. I just don't always have them in my home because they're delicious and great.
Well, you shouldn't. Yeah, this is the exact reason why you shouldn't have marshmallows.
Because I like them?
Yeah, you like them too much.
Yeah, well, that's been my problem.
You'll ruin your life with all these marshmallows, Tom.
That's been my problem my entire birthday week, Tim, that I've had too many sweets in my home as a result.
When you watch Ghostbusters and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man comes, does your tongue roll out of your mouth?
Yeah, I start drooling uncontrollably. Yeah. I'm like, boy, I'd like to eat him.
Aye.
Yeah.
Salivating. Just a puddle of saliva.
Yeah.
Collects under your tongue.
And spoiler alert, but when he blows up and they're all covered in roasted marshmallow, boy, that looks delicious. I don't know why the Ghostbusters aren't, licking their chops the whole end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there should be a 10 or 15 minute scene where they're just licking all parts of their own bodies.
And I don't want to get into Ghostbusters stuff. I just don't understand how in Ghostbusters 2 the entire city forgot about that.
Tom, it was the go-go 80s.
Yeah,
A lot was going on, and they were distracted. I got a question about Doogie Howser. Why did they let him become a doctor? I don't care how smart you are. You're still a kid.
Yeah, but I think that happens in real life, right?
No.
Yeah,
Look.
it happens in real life. Well, you have to be 18 to be a doctor?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know why.
Bedside manner, comfort of the patient.
I'd rather have a kid talking to me about, what's wrong than some, Ivy League educated doctor. That kid's probably going to put it in a lot more, terms I can understand.
Yeah, I'm sick of these elite medical professionals telling me.
Where, if I've got some 8-year-old doctor, he's going to be like, you know what happened to Two-Face in Batman? That's what happened to you. If I was going to the doctor for having acid thrown on my face.
Acid on your face?
Yeah.
I think a regular adult medical doctor would be able to explain that to you sufficiently as well.
Or if I went to the doctor because I had a permanent huge smile plastered on my face and he was like, well, it's because you fell into a vat of chemicals like the Joker.
Right. And you think a child would be better suited to tell you that than an adult?
Yeah, because they'd be giving me all
that Batman movie came out in 1989, Tom.
Here's the chemical composition.
You realize you're an adult too, right? You know this stuff. You're not an 8-year-old. You don't need an 8-year-old to put things.
Well, I'm just saying it'd be nicer because I'd be in a pretty distressed state of mind as it is. And if a child doctor could make me think about 1989's Batman,
that child doctor would have no idea about that.
You don't have to see it in the movie. They remastered it in 4K for kids.
That doctor was born after The Dark Knight Rises was out.
Wow. So you wouldn't even be able to put things in the perspective of Bane for me. If I had some kind of chronic pain that I needed a constant influx of medication through a mask on my face to control that pain. He'd be explaining this, and I'd be like, yeah, like Bane. He'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know who Bane is, but this happened to one of the puppies on Paw Patrol once. Yeah.
I've told you time and time again, Tom, you have less in common with an 8-year-old than you claim.
Yeah. I guess that is the sad truth, Tim. I'm going to have to start catching up on pop culture for children if I'm going to choose to continue having a child doctor as my general practitioner.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you had a nice weekend away in the woods.
Tim, it's buffet week here on The Complete Guide to Everything. This was suggested to us on Patreon. Do you have the person's name that suggested this on Patreon handy, Tim?
No.
Of course you don't. You don't really care about the little person, do you? As you refer to, I'm not little, I'm bigger than you.
That's it's been a while since we've been in the same room. Perhaps you forgot.
Well, I've only gained weight, so I'm looking at Daniel Nudes. He wrote job interviews or buffet style restaurant. This is on patreon.com/complete guide. We do random calls for topics sometimes. And, this got I think the most likes, but I don't know which job interviews or buffets, but we're talking about buffets.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about job interviews. Just thinking about job interviews stresses me out.
Yeah. Whereas thinking about buffets mellows you out, presumably.
Yeah. Tom, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Pro or con buffet?
Depends on the buffet, I would say.
Yeah, but in general.
In general?
Do you have a positive or negative connotation? Is there, in your mind, right away, good, bad, buffet? Quit. No nuance. Good or bad.
It-
Just
shut up and let me speak. It leans more towards bad, I think.
huh.
And
Why is that?
And that wouldn't always be the case. When I was a younger man, it would certainly lead towards positive. I think the problem is that I haven't had a good buffet in a while, and I've had
You haven't had good food in your life, Tom.
no, Tim. I've eaten at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant multiple times. I'll have you know.
Wow, he's the pinnacle of fine dining.
You know what? I also think like my appetite isn't what it used to be.
Okay.
And
in
that's-
what way?
Like I can't eat as much as I used to.
Right.
And like maybe my appetite hasn't changed at all, but I've just become more aware of overeating, like ruining my day.
Yeah.
So I'm more cautious about doing it.
You're in tune with biological
Yeah,
triggers.
I'm listening to my
and-
body a bit more.
Nice.
But I don't know. I will say all right, so let me ask you this. What is the draw of a buffet? Is it the amount of food or the variety of food?
Tom, this is exactly what I was about to say, because I think that's how you reframe a buffet to make it more positive.
Yes.
I enjoy buffets because, look, you know me. I'm an app guy. I love an appetizer, and I love an appetizer sampler platter. I don't, it pains me to have to commit to one specific meal, one
Right.
dish for a meal.
Especially
So I think-
if you're at a place you haven't eaten at before and you're not sure if it's going to be any good.
Exactly. So I love the idea of variety, right? Because also,
Variety is the spice of life.
Tom, I couldn't have said it better myself. And that is a compliment, because that is a huge compliment, because I can say stuff so well. Look, here's my thing. I could never really gorge myself. I couldn't really eat that much ever in one sitting.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not like, I'm gonna put this place out of business. Up, $12.99, and I'm gonna get my money's worth. It's just like, nah, I'm gonna have like one chicken finger and a slice of weird pizza,
Yeah,
and
and
some
at a-
noodles,
And at a
and an egg
regular
roll.
restaurant, you can't order one slice of pizza.
Wait, hold on, I can't
Or
hear you at
one
all.
chicken. You can order one slice of pizza, I guess. You can't order one chicken finger.
Exactly. Hold on, stop. Did your
Yeah.
AirPods just
Yeah.
you went completely dead? Tom, I was so worried I couldn't hear you.
Yeah, what happened here? Huh? One of them started making the noises that it was going to die, so I switched. But apparently not fast enough. All right, I'm good now. What were you saying?
You just said you could order
I'll
a slice
start,
of
yeah.
pizza.
Yeah, at a restaurant, you can't order one chicken finger. They'll throw you out of there. They'll say,
Exactly.
where we're going to throw the other chicken fingers out. The chicken fingers come in a hand, and that's the only way you can order them.
And at a restaurant, they have appetizers, and that's great. But if you get an appetizer sampler platter,
It's too much
they don't
for
have
one
a
person.
They don't have a personal app platter. Which, by the way, let's earmark that if we ever open a restaurant.
Yeah, that's actually a great idea.
App sampler for one, right?
Yeah, because listen, here's something to know about me. I'm not afraid to order an appetizer as an entree when I go to a restaurant.
Hell no. That's the bravest thing that you can do.
Yeah. I mean, I've had more than one waiter or waitress stand in awe of the bravery that it took to order an appetizer. And when they're
I
like,
was once
great, and then you'll have
saluted.
that as an appetizer, I say, no, as an entree. And they're like, often taken aback.
Yeah, sometimes they'll put their pad down and salute you and shed a tear.
Yeah.
One time, I polished off a an order of mozzarella sticks as my main, and somebody came up to me and said, "Thank you for your service."
Well, that doesn't make any sense, Tim. That's not actually even what we're talking about.
Pushing the boundaries.
But for a long time, so listen, as somebody who's been a big buffalo wing fan since I was a kid, that used to be the only way you could get buffalo wings. They were only appetizers, so you'd have to say, I want 10 buffalo wings, but not for the table, just for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that modern day buffalo wings is the perfect way to order food because they often charge by the wing, right?
Yeah,
So
and
you
you
can be like,
get
all right, 8 wings. That'll be 80 cents, sir. Cool.
Well, I mean, yeah, if it's 10-cent wing night.
Here's $1, and guess what? Only give me a dime back.
Wow. Big tipper.
Yeah.
You can also, like at Buffalo Wild Wings, you can get I want this many in this flavor and this many in this flavor. With that said, I've only been to Buffalo Wild Wings a couple of times, and every time I've been hugely disappointed at how bad buffalo wings are at a place that has buffalo wings in their name.
I disagree, Tom, and I don't eat meat anymore. But I'm a boneless.
Oh
wing
yeah,
man,
I got
'cause,
boneless, and it just tasted like they were microwaved.
Yeah, of course. What do you expect? Some
Well,
chain restaurant.
I don't know, but it's like, well, I could just buy some microwavable chicken tenders at my home and eat them there.
Guess what? Your bros are there. You got Brews, the big games on the TV.
Yeah, I guess the last time I went to a Buffalo Wild Wings, I think it was a year ago. I think it was for like my last birthday, and I was like, yeah, I want to go to.
No.
Oh, not during the pandemic. Yeah, so maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I was like, yeah, like I can go wherever I want. I want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. And I went there with I went there at like 4:00 in the afternoon with my mom, my brother, and my infant at the time niece. And like we walked into the restaurant and there was just nobody there, like no employees or anything.
What was it, like a weekday?
Yeah, it was like a weekday, like I said, like
Okay.
4:00. So it was an unusual time. But it was just, we stood for like 10 minutes at the hostess stand before like any employee emerged and was like,
Can I tell you something? Every single employee was so pissed that you were there.
Oh,
everybody was
absolutely.
just hanging out, smoking weed in the kitchen.
yeah.
Because nobody ever comes at 4:00 on a Wednesday.
And they could keep doing that. Hell, they could bring it out. I mean, don't bring it in front of my niece. She's an infant. She doesn't need
She's
that.
an infant, yeah.
But,
They're like,
they could have
"Oh,
done
this
it at the
baby's gonna
bar."
harsh our mellow.
But anyway, it all sucked. It all tasted like fucking garbage. Sorry for my language, but it's how I felt.
I like Buffalo Wild Wings. Do they have like cauliflower now?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Maybe I'd like to take a trip to B triple dubs.
Something like that. Tim, we're not talking about Buffalo Wild Wings, though. We're talking about buffets, which is not
I know, but
something
just let
Buffalo
me-
Wild
just let-
Wings offers on their menu.
Why can't I just get a goddamn menu?
Well, I'm telling you, yeah, I think they have cauliflower. Is that all right? Are you going to
Yeah.
go there tonight?
Potentially.
I don't think they'll be open by the time. It's a
Truffalo
weekday.
sauce.
It's a weekday night.
Yeah, it's all right. There's one right over on Flatbush Ave. What do you think? They close at like 8:00?
Well-
it's the dinner rush. Order.
You could do this literally any other fucking time. Stop it. I'm telling you, yeah, I think they have a cauliflower. You can check before you go. You're not going now. Put your fucking phone down. You're talking to me about, oh, I'm always on my phone. I'm not always on my phone. You're always on your phone. You're on your phone while we're doing a podcast that people are trying to listen to, and you're on your phone for not even like a good reason to see if they have cauliflower at Buffalo Wild Wings, which is not what we're doing the episode about.
They do have cauliflower wings.
Yeah, I told you they do. You dumb shit.
Tom, you're drunk.
Anyway, Tim, what kind of buffets are we talking about? We talking about all you can eat buffets here?
Tom, we're talking about everything.
All right. Because there are different types of buffets. There's, some people would even consider a salad bar a type of buffet.
That's interesting, Tom.
There's also such a thing as a finger buffet.
Well, what's that?
It's just things you can eat with your fingers. Finger food.
Are you meant to take it with fingers, or do they have, tongs and
I
whatnot
think
to grab
probably
it?
they have tongs, but it's all food that you can eat with your finger. If it's a classy place, they'll have tongs. I should also say that, I don't know, is this part of our getting return to normal month or something? We're talking about things that don't really exist right now, but are going to start to exist once things get more normal. Because buffets, that's a big no-no right now.
Yes, that's correct, Tom.
But I haven't been to a buffet, but I've been to two places that have buffet style eating, but they've had people serving you your food, not not serve yourself.
Tom, can I talk, or are you gonna yell at me again?
Yeah, you can look. Talking is fine on the show. It's picking up your phone and seeing if Buffalo Wild Wings says cauliflower when I told you they do.
But you admittedly don't know anything, right, about Buffalo Wild Wings. You hate that place.
Yeah, but I assume they have cauliflower nowadays.
Well, I just want to say that outburst was uncalled for.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have picked up your phone. I'm not apologizing if that's what you're fishing for.
I mean, I think you should apologize.
Well, I'm not going to. Hey, how about this for an apology? Sorry, not sorry.
I think that the ultimate look, people think buffets are gross. One, because they're cheap, right? Or some of them are cheap. But also it's because people are like, oh, it's so gross. Everybody's up there just grabbing their own food and all that. Tom, that's never look. I'm skeeved out by a lot of things. I'm not skeeved out by the fact that somebody else is gonna shovel rice with the same spoon that I'm gonna shovel rice onto my plate. Yeah,
because I've heard that's so one of the most common places you'll find a buffet is a cruise ship. Mm-hmm. A lot of meals on a cruise ship are buffet style.
You love a cruise, right?
I've been
because you're generally low class.
Look, Tim, cruises are high class because you're on a boat. The
cruises you go on.
I've been on cruises.
Cruises for freaks.
I've been on cruises I've loved
just
even.
Sickos.
I've been
swinger cruises.
What was that?
Swinger cruises? You
no,
just sicko?
But I told you about the time I was waiting in line for the wave machine where you could surf and somebody's bathing suit came off.
Mm-hmm.
And
you've told me about this in graphic detail many times.
I can draw you a picture
over the 11
like
years since it happened.
But anyway, but I've heard that that's a big reason why cruise ships are such petri dishes for viruses to spread, because so many people are touching those utensils to scoop out the food, and then you're scooping out your food and you're not going to bring the plate to your table and then be like, all right, now off to the bathroom to wash my hands.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to start eating. And that's how one of the reasons why shit spreads so quickly. The other is just that, it's cramped quarters.
Yeah. I saw the swinging that's going on.
I don't think there are swingers
swapping
cruises.
spit.
Well, there's probably smaller ones, but there aren't
I don't
Royal
know how big
Caribbean
the cruises you
ones.
going.
All the ones I've been on have been huge. Way too many people to swing with.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why that's gross. That's just never been something that has turned me off to them. But also, I don't know.
No, and I don't.
Food is usually slimy at the cheaper ones, and you never want to eat it anyway.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that's never turned me off to buffets either, because it's just never been something I've thought about. Like I've always I haven't been grossed out by other people. I've been grossed out occasionally by the food, because there are two problems. First is the food is usually lower quality because, it's quantity over quality. But the second thing is that sometimes the food's been sitting out for a while. That's the other problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I've been to a sushi buffet, which you would think that's a nightmare situation. You don't want to go somewhere where they've got raw fish, but this place, they were swapping out sushi like you wouldn't believe, and it was all like small-ish. It wasn't like they brought out a tray with like 100 rolls on it or 100 pieces. It was like, no, we're gonna bring out like 20 pieces, and those are immediately gonna get grabbed, and now we're gonna go back and make some more. Although the thing with that was, those 20 pieces that were being grabbed were all like good sushi. It was like, oh, if you want a California roll, though, if you don't want to wait, there's tons of that, which I assume is what they're kind of counting on.
It's gross. I bet you got sick from it and didn't attribute it to that. You just thought it was something different.
Maybe. I don't think probably any of the fish I ate was what was advertised. Like, it was probably all just, I don't know, goldfish or something that they just, mashed up in a food processor.
Lot of goldfish, yeah.
Whatever fish is cheap, goldfish. I assume that's what's cheap. I mean, that's the cheapest fish I can buy.
I don't know, because, how much is a goldfish?
You can win them for free at the carnival.
Yeah, but it takes a significant investment to do that.
Not if you're real good at whatever the game is. So, and goldfish grow to whatever size, vessel you put them in. So maybe
That's
like
not true.
Yeah, it is true.
If you put a goldfish in a huge tank, it'll grow to be a
that's
giant
what
goldfish.
that's what like a koi pond is. Those are goldfish.
I guess that tracks.
Yeah. So you could just like net off a bay or something, throw a goldfish in there. I don't know, come back in 6 months and you got a whale that you can then cut up and be like, this is salmon, and sell it to unsuspecting rubes like me who are going to a strip mall, all you can eat sushi place.
I'm sorry. I can't get off that. You're gonna have to apologize. That was your outburst is really, I don't know. It was uncalled for, and it really hurt my feelings. And I don't think we can go on.
Well, maybe you should
past it.
Maybe you should toughen up. Maybe that's what. Maybe this was a case of tough love for you to put your phone down and delete that Buffalo Wild Wings site off your bookmarks for once and for all.
Welcome back to the Complete Guide to Everything, the show where we all sit and patiently listen while Tom says whatever he wants to say, and God forbid you don't pay attention to every word hang on every word for minutes on end
what?
as he's
you have to listen
ranting
to
and
what
raving
Tom's
about
saying,
sushi
because
bars.
otherwise you're just going to be, looking at Tim staring at his phone on the Buffalo Wild Wings website. You can even download the app, which is disrespectful if nothing else.
Didn't download the app because I'm going to go dine in, Tom. Because I'm trying to support the servers.
Well, do they offer dine-in at oh, God, why did I ask this? Now you're going to pull up the website again to find out.
Yeah, they do, Tom.
All right. Well, we're talking about...
Do you want to go when we're done with this? They have cauliflower wings.
Yeah. You know what? I've said it before on this show. Buffalo cauliflower is very good. I'm a big fan of it. I'm also very sad. A place near me, Soda Bar, that offered not just soda, wink, wink, had the best Buffalo cauliflower closed.
Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Like sexual stuff?
No. Beer and liquor.
Oh. That's
Tim.
not. That's. I don't know.
Well,
what do
but
you
it's
wink-
called
usually
soda
when you
bar.
wink at me, it's for some perverted reason.
It's called soda bar. So you're like, oh, soda. Well, I could get that anywhere. But then, everybody else knew.
Well, there's a Buffalo Wild Wings right on Flatbush, Tom. We can go there as soon as we're done. 20 minutes from now.
I also make very good buffalo cauliflower.
Wow, Tom. Congratulations. I'm surprised to hear that you think that you're good at something.
Tim, this is what we were talking about, the self-esteem issues earlier. I think it's fine that I think I'm good at something, for fuck's sake.
I mean,
I'm surprised you think you're good at something. What, I'm supposed to walk around thinking I'm bad at everything because that's what you think?
You're not very good at most things.
No, and I don't claim to be good at most things, but that's one thing that I'm good at, is making buffalo cauliflower. And it's not because of any magical endowment. It's because I've made it a bunch of times, so I've perfected it.
I bet your cauliflower sucks.
Oh,
I bet nobody likes it.
You're just saying that so I make you some, and then you're gonna have some and be
I
like,
would eat something you made if you friggin' paid me.
Tim, I looked up on WikiHow, which is not Wikipedia, WikiHow, for their tips on eating at a all-you-can-eat buffet.
Okay.
I'd like to go through some.
All right. If you're visiting a website about how to go to a restaurant.
Well, but it's a particular type of restaurant, Tim, because a lot of people, and I was reading this. So actually, let me back up a bit. When I think of all-you-can-eat buffets, I think of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, where they have a variety of gigantic all-you-can-eat buffets. Have you ever been to Lancaster County, Pennsylvania?
I have not. Did you go there at like a formative age?
Yeah, when I was a kid, we would go there a bunch because it was like close-ish.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like, we could drive there in a day, and we would stay in a hotel, but like maybe for like a night, and we go to like, some like Amish bullshit that I hated. And I can say that about the Amish. They can't listen to this podcast. If somebody Amish listens to this podcast and complains, we can be like, aha, and get them shunned from their community.
I mean, they might be on Rumspringa, Tom.
Well, if they're on Rumspringa, anything goes. And the people probably they're going to have to explain when they get back what a podcast is to somebody, like one of the elders in the community, and that's not going to go well.
Do you think they're unaware in the Amish community that technology exists? Like, they could be like, oh, it's like the radio. And they're going to be like, what is this radio you speak of?
Yeah, probably, or else they get thrown out.
All right, go on. So
I think they'd probably be like, how many
hated
people listen to this radio? And they'd be like, well, I don't know. And they'd be like, oh, it's probably fine. Who are they going to raise a complaint with? Headgum?
I mean,
If somebody Amish writes into Headgum trying to get us thrown off the network, I'd wear it as a badge of pride.
What if you just hurt their feelings by calling their way of life bullshit?
Did I call their way of life bullshit?
Yeah, you did.
No, I think I said something
Tom,
else.
Can we have a frank discussion about how your drinking affects this podcast?
Sure.
Sometimes when you can't recall something that you said 30 to 45 seconds ago, it makes it difficult to keep a conversation going.
Yeah, but
Not to mention your violent mood swings.
It keeps the conversation rolling, though, Tim. We don't get stuck in the past. We keep going forward. So anyway, when I was a kid, my parents would take me and my brother to Lancaster County to, I don't know, gawk at the Amish. And there were like train museums and stuff. We go to them. And like the train museums were kind of cool sometimes. Sometimes they sucked. Basically, they, when I was like 6 years old, 5 or 6, they took me to Disney World. And after that, everything, they were,
Yeah.
after that, they were
everything
like,
for you.
oh, let's go like Busch Gardens. And I was like, this is kind of cool, but it's not Disney World. So let alone when they were like, let's go to somewhere where we can go to train and Amish museums. It was like, oh, the boringest things you could imagine? Sure. But anyway, one of the things that they did have, which is great, was a lot of all-you-can-eat buffets. And we would go to this place called Miller's, which is still there. And there's another place called, I have it in my notes. And
Are these run by the Amish as well?
they're run by Mennonites, I believe.
Okay.
You know what? I'm going to find the name of the other place right now, and it is called Shady Maple. Shady Maple is
Thank God you stopped everything dead in its tracks to look up the name of a buffet.
So this place, Shady Maple, guess how many people they can seat?
I'm going to guess 700.
1,200.
Wow.
Plus, they have a banquet hall that can seat another 850.
Wow.
So that's for like events.
That's
like,
that's a big place.
It's huge. It's like a complex. And the place that
I don't like that. That makes me nervous. That's too much of an operation. That's like the size of an airport.
it kind of was. And Miller's, I think,
It's probably bigger than the airport on Wings.
Oh, it's absolutely bigger than the airport on Wings. Miller's, I think, is like 700 or 800 people, so it's also very big. Here's some stats on Shady Maple, though. On Saturday mornings, on average, they go through 3,000 eggs, 800 pounds of bacon, and then on steak night, they go through 300 pounds of steak. In this place...
on steak night.
Well, they aren't... See, that's what is...
It's a shame that it's going to be illegal for them to have steak night.
I know, yeah. Once Joe Biden gets wind of this, he's going to shut it down. They have varying... Every night is a different price to go there because every night they have different things on offer. So if you're going there on a steak night or a seafood night, it's going to be a little pricier because they're offering stuff that's a little pricier. However, the prices, breakfast is $9.99, dinner ranges from $19.59 to $24.99, and they do not allow... Is this
an advertisement?
No, and they do not allow tipping. So that's, aside from tax, that's how much you're paying no matter what you eat. So you can imagine people, go buck wild there. I remember when I was at this place, Miller's, as a kid, you could see vomit stains on the way to the bathroom where people
Seems
were...
like a real classy joint.
Where people were obviously...
I guess you get 1,200 people just gorging themselves. There's just going to be a constant stream of vomit.
It could be the classiest place on earth. You're still going to get a few, outsiders or whatever, a few ruffians that are going to overdo it. And, well, you're going to get a lot of people that are going to overdo it. But you're going to get a certain amount of people that are going to overdo it to the point where they can't even make it to the bathroom before they puke.
You know what? I really don't like that attitude that people have. It's almost confrontational.
What?
About a
that
buffet.
Puking at a buffet means you've had enough and you shouldn't be able to eat anymore? That's the attitude you hate?
No, the attitude of like, oh, they're gonna regret making this all you can eat. I'm gonna take them for all they're worth. It's like, I'm going to make it my mission to eat as much. Why? Why are you doing that? Just eat the food that you want to eat and then fucking go home.
Well, yeah. And honestly, like $20, I mean, we're skewed here because we're in, one of the most expensive cities. But like $20 in and out for a dinner, for like a decent dinner where you're like, not a fast food place where you're seated and everything. That's not bad at all. Especially one where you can eat all the food you want, I would not feel the need to screw them and like I'm gonna eat $30 worth of food.
Yeah, I just don't like when people think of it as a challenge instead of just a business model or a a way of serving people, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm sure you said this while you were monologuing about this place for 15 straight minutes. This was a place where you got up and served yourself.
Yes.
How was the clientele there? Was there a lot of jockeying? Was it That's another thing that I don't love.
Right.
Is that like sometimes people's behavior and like competitive spirit against their fellow patrons?
Yeah. I didn't experience any of that at these Pennsylvanian. I think just by virtue of them being gigantic and, never being there on like a holiday or whatever when maybe they were full up. Although I've definitely experienced that on cruises where, everybody's eating at the same time. And yeah, there is kind of like jockeying and claiming space and hovering and that kind of thing.
Do you think you'll ever go on a cruise again?
Who knows? We'll see what the future holds. Maybe not. I don't know. They were real cool in the beginning, and then it got old real quick.
When you saw that Lady Luther bathing suit. I know, Tom.
No, that wasn't until later. I mean, if anything, that kind of brought it back for me. But yeah, I remember as a kid loving this place because this place had everything. And when you're a kid and you're like, every kid's a picky eater to some degree. The idea that you go somewhere and it's like, you can get whatever you want. You don't have to worry about, them not having something you like on the menu, or you want the hot dog, but it comes with peas and you don't like peas. You can just get whatever you want.
It's not a thing that's ever happened in a restaurant, but I understand the spirit of what you're saying. Peas.
But I remember they had not make your own. It was basically like order your own pancakes. And there was just a chef there, and you could be like, hey, I want a pancake, and this is what I want cooked into the pancake. I want chocolate chips and strawberries. And they would, freshly make you a pancake with chocolate chips and strawberries. And it was always delicious. And so that actually goes against, the problem with a lot of buffets because these were freshly made.
Yeah. You know what the fascinating thing about buffets to me, like there was a popular, when we were in high school, popular with the high school folk that I think it was just called China Buffet, and it was like a Chinese food buffet near us.
Yeah, there's a lot of Chinese American buffets. That's a very popular thing too.
Yeah, but we went there and like and this seems to be any cuisine where you go for a buffet, they'll always have staples. Like there'll always be mac and cheese there. There'll always be chicken fingers with barbecue sauce. I like that. Because if you're just going to have a buffet, I like as much variety as possible. Well, hey, let me take a trip around the world.
Yeah.
In one spin around the buffet table.
Yeah, and especially nobody's going to a buffet because they're like, you know what? I want some authentic Chinese food. It's like, no, I want to try a bunch of different, Chinese American dishes, and I want
3 ounces of lo mein,
right?
An egg roll, and then some mozzarella sticks, maybe.
Like the Chinese takeout place that we always order from. I feel like most Chinese places in America, like towards the bottom of the menu, it's like, we also we'll make hamburgers and chicken nuggets and French fries. Like we make a Philly cheesesteak. Like, look, we got a grill and we got these ingredients, whatever you want, we'll throw it together. It's really no big deal. We're not making you authentic Chinese cuisine to begin with. So honestly, if you'd rather have a hamburger, we'd probably be happier to make you that than making this like bastardized version of our food. Yeah, so can I go over some of these WikiHow tips? Because I feel like that kind of goes into why they might have some of those cuisines.
Sure.
Their first,
I mean, it's been 5 seconds since you talked for 20 minutes straight, so might as well start the clock again.
wear loose, comfortable clothes.
God forbid I look at my phone while you're just, talking
Well, let's hear
endlessly,
what you
not
have to
letting me
say
get a
about
word in
buffets.
edgewise. No, it's fine. Let's read WikiHow from the
Wear
internet.
loose, comfortable clothes.
I mean, how much are you going to eat?
Well, you're going to eat enough that you went on WikiHow to see what their tips were
You
for
had to
eating at a
strategize.
buffet.
Okay, yeah.
Eat expensive food first. So I think
I mean, yeah. I don't. Again, I think this is how to maximize your value and cheat the buffet out of as much money as possible.
I don't think it has anything to do with that at all. Their next tip is to use a salad or soup bowl for ice cream. They do.
Because the ice cream bowls are smaller.
No, because they're bigger, Tim. Or
the
yeah,
ice
because
cream
the
bowls
ice
are
cream bowl,
smaller
yeah,
than
but
yeah.
these bowls are bigger. Think about it, like
Yeah.
one of those clear plastic salad bowls. How much ice cream you could put on that?
Yeah.
But they do caution that some buffets are wise to this and will, they ban that.
The thing is, if you have multiple trips up there, sorry, guess what? You got to eat your ice cream 2 scoops at a time. And then you have to take a 2.5 minute break to walk 15 feet and then walk back.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of my best tips for buffets is the whole idea is they're not running out of shit. It's fine if you have to get up and go again. If anything, I've noticed the past few times I've had buffets, like I haven't overloaded my plate and I get up multiple times to go get more stuff. And then I feel like I'm getting my money's worth. If I'm getting up 3 times, if I'm getting up for thirds, it doesn't matter how much I've actually eaten. It's like, well, no restaurant can I ask for a third serving of my entrees. So,
I mean, you can, but it'll cost you. You learn that the
Exactly.
hard way. You're just like, wait, you added on
What?
an
I thought it
additional
was unlimited
$15 for every
refills.
hamburger?
they say the same for cake and pies. Don't use the dessert plates. Use the entree plates. Drink
So
water.
you can fit a whole pie onto that plate.
Exactly. Drink water.
And they legally can't stop you. You should call the police if they try to stop
right.
you.
You should say legally you can't stop me. I'm a sovereign citizen.
Yeah. Do it. Dial 911. Do it. It's your right.
I guarantee you, especially in Lancaster County, if you talk to a cop there and ask them hey, how many times has 911 been called? I bet they're like, oh, we're out to the buffets 3 times a night for various, somebody violently ill, somebody else fighting about rules, somebody else saying.
They serve alcohol at these places, at these buffets?
So Lancaster County, they, for the most part, don't because, it's a very religious county. So the liquor laws are very strict.
Mm-hmm.
I was reading one
That
place.
couldn't help the vomit situation either.
Yeah, and it couldn't help the eating situation. When you're drunk, you're going to eat more. And also the places that do have liquor, that is not all you can drink, obviously. So I think it probably just complicates things in general, because then it's like, well, now we're gonna have to like keep track of what you're drinking and drop a check at the end of the night. Whereas we just, one of the advantages of a buffet is that you've got a lower staff overhead because you don't have wait service. You're like, we're not gonna have hostesses usually either. It's somebody at the front of the restaurant is charging you $20, and it's like an amusement park. Well, I guess amusement parks you can buy other stuff, but you've gained entry. Go wild, find your own seat. That's cool. Like, we'll have bus boys, to pick up the dirty plates. But other than that, it's the Wild West. You're on your own. Drink water the day before to stretch your stomach out, but don't drink water right before you go, because that'll fill you up.
Is this like for people who, for some reason, are down on their luck and need to get like as many calories for their week in one sitting?
No, because I don't think anybody would recommend, like, hey, if you don't have a lot of money, don't eat for a few days and then go to a buffet. That's not the way.
Well,
to
no,
do it.
like if you only have $20 to your name and you gotta survive for a week, this is like, here's how you can get a week's worth of calories. So,
no, I don't. I don't think that's how. I think
down.
all these are. If you think $20 is a lot to spend for a meal, here's how you can, try and screw the restaurant by eating more than they accounted for you eating. Along those lines, I think this is a good idea. Eat a light snack an hour before so you're not too hungry when you get in there. Because have you ever had this happen where, like, you feel like you're starving and you're like, oh, I could eat a horse. And then you start to eat and you get full very quickly?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not like you. I'm not always trying to eat as much as I can as soon as I sit down.
Well, that's one of their
I'm not
tips.
like, damn, I'm not hungry anymore and I still have food. It's like, oh, cool, I'll save this food for later.
Well, you can't save it for later, Tim. That's heavily frowned upon at an all-you-can-eat buffet.
I know, I'm talking about outside of a buffet setting.
Well, we're not talking about outside buffet settings, because this week the episode's about buffets.
Only you're allowed to talk about whatever you feel like.
Eat
Sorry,
slow.
I interrupted your constant stream of nonsense.
I've got two to end with.
Okay.
Avoid carbonated drinks because they'll fill you up.
Mm-hmm.
And
with gas.
Walk around before you eat. Not like
this is the saddest list I've
not
ever
walk
heard.
around like the restaurant, like, do a lap around the block. Take in everything they've got. Do a lap where you're just like, I'm just looking. I don't have a plate in my hands yet.
There's a lot of strategizing for eating a goddamn meal
Well,
of like low quality food.
But if you want to eat a goddamn meal, just go to any restaurant. But we're talking about a buffet and you want to maximize.
No, what if you're there for the variety, not for maximization? This is what we were talking about earlier.
Then it's even more important to take a lap and see what they've got. Because what if you get to a buffet and you're like, oh, mac and cheese, I love mac and cheese. You pile up mac and cheese and you go back to the table and eat it. And then you get up again and you're like, oh, I had no idea that they also had mashed potatoes. And I love mashed potatoes.
I mean, what kind of idiot is just going to fill up his plate without taking a look at what the options are?
I don't know.
That'd be like,
the kind of
oh,
idiot...
be sure to look at all, when you're in a restaurant, look at the whole menu before you order your food. Like, yeah, no shit. That way you know what's at the restaurant.
Some people are dumb, Tim. Some people have to look on WikiHow to learn how to eat at a restaurant.
Yeah.
I would agree that I would think. But again, I think some people get weird at a buffet and they get just tunnel vision. And like you were talking about, like boxing people out and stuff. where, and I have had that experience, and it's insane when it happens because it's like, when this tray of food is gone, in 30 seconds, somebody's going to bring out a fresh, full tray of the same food. You don't need to like physically push me out of the way so I don't take, the last, I don't know, salmon fillet or whatever.
I wouldn't eat salmon at a buffet.
It's fine. They bleach it or something beforehand. But
They
I'm
bleach
just,
all the food.
but I'm just saying sometimes you'll see some, especially I've been at buffets where I see something that I'm not expecting at a buffet. For example, hot dogs, where they have like hot dogs in a bun on a tray, and you're like, oh man,
Like a steam tray?
yeah, like all the hot dogs I can eat. But relax, take a deep breath, and continue the walk and see what else they've got.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of monsters don't understand this?
A
I mean,
lot.
how big is this buffet? I mean, I guess that one
Well-
place in Lancaster was pretty big.
Let me give you an idea of how big this buffet is, Tim. Their dinner features 32 different salad bar items, 5 different homemade breads and rolls, 4 soups,
All
three
right,
three cheeses,
shut
9
up.
meats. 9 meats. Did you know there were that many meats you could eat?
I've worked in a butcher shop, Tom.
How many meats did you have at the butcher shop?
6. But we weren't a very good butcher shop. So I knew that there must have been more out there.
14 vegetables, 9 cold desserts, 3 hot desserts, 5 pies, 6 cakes, a sundae bar, and beverages.
Wow.
So it's a lot. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah. Look, what do you want me to say? I'm afraid to say anything. I get yelled at whenever I do anything
No,
on this
you
show.
get yelled at when you're not
whenever I
engaging with
start
the
talking, you
podcast and you're
interrupt
just
me.
looking at your phone, dicking around on Buffalo Wild Wings when that's
So
not
I'm
even a
looking for
place.
specific
that has
thing. It is
buffets.
a place.
This place also serves 1.2 million customers a year.
Buffalo Wild Wings? No, they serve more than that.
99,450 birthday meals because you eat free on your birthday at this place, which almost 1 out of 10 customers is it's their birthday. But I'm sure you can't go there by yourself on your birthday. I mean, you shouldn't because that's real sad. But their rule is you have to have at least 1 paying customer there. But,
That's a sad rule, though, because, like, I don't know. If you're going to this buffet alone on your birthday, like, just let the sad
look,
person
they're
have
not
their
running a
free meal.
charity here, Tim. They're already, offering a phenomenal deal.
Yeah.
But obviously, at some point, somebody did the math and they were like, yeah, we can afford to give 1 out of 10 meals away because, if it was my birthday and this place were closer, I would demand that we go there every birthday I have. And then, all you rubes would have to pay for it.
No, your mom and your brother and your infant niece.
Well, in that particular instance, yes. Also on this site for Shady Maple, like they had their website had like a regular website FAQ, but like a bunch of different sections, and they had military discount, and then under that they had a link called military rumors. I was
What's
like,
that?
what the hell, military rumors? What does that mean? And I click on it. And it is about how this particular place, there is a persistent rumor that they do not serve military, that they do not serve soldiers of any type. And it's one of these things like it's on Snopes because it's, been a subject of so many like social media and email forward bullshit of, people having their stories like, my brother came back from Iraq And this was all he wanted. And we went there and they told him, no, you can't eat here. We refuse to serve soldiers. And meanwhile, this is in like rural Pennsylvania, where it's insane to think that a place would, any place would have that. Anywhere in America would have that kind of, even if you were in, a liberal capital, New York City, nobody has rules like that. But let alone a place in rural Pennsylvania that serves literally 1 million plus customers.
Okay. Tom, you've defended the honor of this buffet place. They support the troops. Great. Can we get the...
Not only that, Tim, they offer discounts on Wednesdays.
Their slow day. That's a slap in the face. Slap in the face to all the hardworking veterans.
Apparently, the rumor came about because the owners are Mennonites, and Mennonites are, anti-violence. But it's like, well, so is all of Christianity, technically. But, it's just dumb. It's dumb that anybody would believe. Don't believe anything you read on the internet. Don't believe anything you hear on the internet either. So don't listen to me. Maybe they don't allow soldiers to eat there.
Are you saying that maybe Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't have cauliflower wings?
Maybe they don't. Tim, until you go there and produce a paper menu for me, I'm going to be dubious.
All right, we'll go there right after this.
I've told you about my suspicions about what happens in the basement of Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right.
That I think deserves further investigation. That's all I'm saying, Tim. I'm just asking questions.
I don't want to do this podcast with you anymore.
If you like the show, you can check out more at tcgte.com. You can support the show by checking out our sponsors. Also, patreon.com/complete guide for Books the Podcast, the only podcast about books. This week, we finished up A Wrinkle in Time, and we've watched A Wrinkle in Time, the movie, the motion picture, and we'll be discussing that. Patreon.com/complete guide. Follow us on Facebook, Facebook.com/complete guide. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/TCGTE. Follow us on Twitter @complete guide. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram @Tom Reynolds.
Follow me at Your Pal Tim. I like that you gave the web URL for our Instagram page.
Yeah. As I was giving it out, I was like, who's accessing this via a website? We got to just make like a page with all these social links. I'm sick of saying them.
Yeah.
I found...
if everybody retweets us, then you won't have to...
It'll go viral, and it will take care of itself.
Hey, guys, just make us go viral already. No, actually don't. Well, if we ever go viral, it'll be for a
bad reason.
Yeah.
I found out 19 out of 30 Major League Baseball ballparks now have buffets.
That's bonkers. That shouldn't be the case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's buffets that cost like $100 to enter, and it's like, oh, you can eat hot dogs, you idiot.
Oh, I've had a buffet at a Yankees game and a Mets game. They're nice.
I'm not talking about like in a box, in a skybox.
Oh. Well, then forget it, because that's what I was talking about.
We've been at maybe a Mets game where I saw like a bar had a section that had a buffet, but you had to like pay to get into that buffet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all ballpark food. But, I don't know. Ballpark food's fun at a ballpark.
Sometimes.
I do question how ballpark food's obviously overpriced, so the buffet's overpriced. I think that's probably why there are so many very quickly, because there's probably so many people that are like, hot dogs are $12. Well, I'll show them. I'll pay $100 to go into this buffet, and I'll eat 20 hot dogs. And it's like, guess what? Those hot dogs still cost them a nickel each.
Yeah, and guess what? You're not Joey Chestnut. You're not going to eat 100 hot dogs. It's harder than you think.
Do you think...
many people think they're Joey Chestnut these days, and they're not.
I didn't even get into. I wonder how many competitive eaters are banned from buffets, because that's a great place to come practice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tom, there's a lot I didn't get to. If we ever do a buffets too, maybe I'll talk the entire time and yell at you when your
Well, it didn't seem
attention
like you had.
drifts.
Give me an example. Give me your best stuff that you had.
I had a whole list of buffet innovations that I would make, but guess what? No time. We ran out of time.
Yeah, well, maybe
Classic Timovations.
maybe next week buffets part 2, and I'll be on mute the whole time. Sorry, it just seems like sometimes I
So
have
you
to
won't
carry
interrupt me
the
every
show.
time I start speaking?
Maybe we'll see. If your
Maybe there
ideas
won't
are
be
good
a
enough.
next week.
Wow. You heard it here first. A man so angry that he couldn't get his buffet ideas out there that he threatens to cancel a podcast for good. These must be some fucking ideas. These must be ideas that are going to change the world.
Sorry it wasn't me rambling on and on reading the website of a fucking buffet that I went to when I was 6 years old.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
did
sorry
you know
it wasn't
that,
me
they
looking
serve-
at
they
the
actually do.
website
They
of
actually
a
do
place that
support
doesn't even
veterans.
offer buffets to see if they offer something that caters to my specific needs. I'm sorry that nobody responded to
You're
your
sorry.
Craigslist
sorry for
ads
what?
looking for somebody to put a
Son of
toilet
bitch.
cam in your
Fuck
apartment.
You. Get out. I hate this show and I hate you.
We'll see you next week.